here on a Free Solution, WACK, and that one in New York, Newark, New York. My name is Craig Miles. I'm filling in for Kevin Wilson today because Kevin's got some things going on this February, so I'll actually be on your dial every Wednesday, so you get to spend some time with me, and I'm very excited with that. So we're gonna get started today. If you saw the live on Facebook, the notification, then I shared a meme to that. And it was a meme that I saw on Being Libertarian. And it said something to the effect of, remember when years ago we decided that wrestling was fake, but people still continued to watch it because they like the entertainment? Yeah, we're almost there with politics and entertainment. And I said, I know it was facetious, but I think it was actually a lot closer to reality than we realize. And I say that because if you don't listen to a wide variety of news and you only get your news from one source, you have your team, right? You've got your guy up there, the talking head that you like. You like Tucker Carlson, or you like Lester Holt, or you like whoever's on CNN, and you start to kind of feel like you know them. And that's a part of your ritual, and you tune in and you watch them and you love it. And whatever they say, I don't really question it. I just kind of watch it and I say, Lester, you are right, man. I love what you're saying. And it's almost like watching The Undertaker or Triple H, or I'm not a wrestling fan, but any of those guys go out there and they rile up the crowd and they say, here we go, right? And you say, yeah, I love it. Now that's okay, because at the end of the day, you throw your popcorn on the floor, you dump the beer, you walk out of the stadium or wherever you're watching the wrestling, and you go home and you live your life. The problem with team sports in politics and in entertainment, I'm sorry, not entertainment, but in news, quote unquote, the problem with that is it actually has real world ramifications. Elections have consequences, right? That's what Obama said years ago. And when he said that, people said, yeah, consequences, that's right, we'll get them, the other side. The problem is they've got the other side wrong. We've divided it up and down so that there's a left and right. We should be dividing it horizontally, because there is the people and there is the ruling class. So when Obama says elections have consequences, the left says, yeah, they do. Let's be less conservative. But that never happens, because when they apply the rules or they apply the changes, it applies to everybody. So you'll actually get half of the population to be very happy about giving away certain things because it's to get the other side. It's to own the libs. It's to fight those alt-right nationalists that tried to take over our capital a year ago. And, oh man, there's got to be something done about that. And you'll actually watch people cheer their team on as their team is actually taking things away from them. And I think that has only gotten worse in the past few years. And I think it's been a slow decline. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about with the whole entertainment situation. Is it really entertainment? And if it is really entertainment, what can we do? Because there's people that are enjoying it. There's people that are watching it. But these people vote for the people that enact the policies that make me not like to live here in New York State or question where the country is going. And so, okay, it's fun to watch Donald Trump own the libs, or to watch Joe Biden get up there and say he's going to beat up somebody, right? Or call someone a stupid SOB, right? It's fun. It's fun. That gets a laugh. But these guys are actually making decisions. Why are we letting these guys make decisions for us? And like I said, it's okay to be entertained by that stuff. But at the end of the day, I think you need to go a layer deeper and say, you know what? maybe we shouldn't let these guys maybe we should let these guys entertain us, but maybe that's like all that we should do. Maybe we shouldn't let them call the shots. Maybe we shouldn't listen to everything that they have to say without questioning it. Because that's a problem that we get into is when you have team sports, when you're rooting for the Undertaker or for Triple H, you root for him no matter what. You just watched him smash a table over someone's head and you said, yeah, that's great. I love it. Because go Undertaker. It's no different. It's no different when Don Lemon does it or when Obama does it or when Rush Limbaugh did it. It's no different when you don't question what they're doing and you're only blindly reacting to the entertainment in front of you. And this has a lot of different tentacles. You've got the Joe Rogan situation. You have mask mandates last week, where everybody felt a certain way about that. And Kathy Hochul decided that it was really, really important to rush to get a stay. But now it's been over a week and all of a sudden we haven't heard anything about it because she got her mask mandate back. And if you sat there and you watched this and you were entertained by it until the next crisis came up, the possible war with Ukraine or this or that. And you forgot, hey, guess what? Our kids are still going to school with masks on. And wasn't that declared unconstitutional? So people beat up on Trump for this all the time. He's like, it's just every 15 minutes is the new crisis. It's not Trump only. It's the way that it works. If they've got you whipped into a constant frenzy and you only plug into that box on the wall and upload whatever it is they're talking about, that's all you know. And I don't say all of this to act like I know everything, because I don't. And that's the best thing that you can do, is admit that you don't know everything, because we have a lot of people talking. A lot of people, that's all anybody does these days is talk. I realize this is ironic because I'm on the radio talking. I also listen. I'm getting better at that. I haven't been real good at that throughout my whole life. You know what you want, you know what's right, you know what your opinion is, and I don't really need to listen to anybody else. And that has become extremely bad. You used to have discussions, you used to listen, you used to respect people even if they had different opinions. And I don't see that happening anymore. And the thing is, this goes back to the left-right divide versus the up-down divide. Those people up at the top, you saw it with Trump and Cuomo and Bloomberg. They were all buddies. They golfed on the weekends together. They all know each other. They all hang out. They all give to the same charities. And then they get in front of the camera and they say, that guy's horrible. That guy I just golfed with last year is horrible. I hate him. And then you say, yeah, that's horrible. They're not showing you the whole picture, which is why it's important. And everything is not a conspiracy. Things happen. People try to do the right thing. Everybody's not out to get you. But if you're only watching what the entertainer on the television is doing, David Copperfield did all these tricks, right? Wooed you. And then he went home and he took off his pants and he went to sleep, just like everybody else. He was just some guy. And it's no different with anyone that's feeding you the news or anyone who is claiming to help you politically. It's no different. They go home at the end of the day and they shower and they go to sleep. And you wonder how some of them sleep. Because you say, oh, yeah, huh. And that's what I want to, I kind of wandered for a minute there, but that's what I want to touch on. If you're not questioning, then you don't even have the opportunity to learn something new. You're just repeating the same thing over and over and over again without a question. And that is not productive for anybody. I'll rephrase that and say it is productive for the people that are putting on the show, because they get to do what they want. And you look to them for advice and they keep living their life. and stepping on you. So when we come back after the break, we're going to talk a little bit about, is there a way to move away from this? Also, misinformation is a big topic. We're going to get to that as well. On A Free Solution, Craig Miles filling in for Kevin Wilson. Yeah, I messed that up horribly. I'm using my my phone because I only have wireless internet through the building, and that's really not good. Um, so, so is it bad, or is it just every once in a while? Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, yeah, all except for the most important part where you get the station right, but otherwise. how we can exist in this world, this new world order, which, by the way, I don't remember if it was the Atlantic or the Economist or what it was, but I got advertised on Facebook a new issue, a special issue that said, buy this issue to learn how to exist in the new global order. And it wasn't so long ago where if you said New World Order, you were some tinfoil hat. Where this is literally advertised to me from a major publication on Facebook, and they changed one word. They changed world to global and did a whole special issue on how to exist on this New World Order. And I said, it's right there. Glenn Beck talks about this with the Great Reset and all of these things. My point is, these are all people pulling strings in dark rooms somewhere. And until they come out and they force your hand physically, nothing they do matters. I'm not telling you to be an anarchist and go out and, well, that's a whole nother discussion. That's the other thing too, right? If we didn't have rule of law, then everyone would be chaotic. No, we would have communities. We would have families. We would have people helping people. And that is my answer. That's my point, is however much you believe that there is some sort of a higher class pulling the strings and making us all do things. And you see this with the left, with the evil billionaires. And you see it with the right, with George Soros and all of this, right? It's all, we all, to a certain extent, I think, do believe that there are not the nicest forces attempting to sway us in one direction or the other. And I'll make my point again. It only works as long as you listen to them. And again, you don't have to go out and break the law, but you also don't have to listen to Kathy Hochul talk every day on her press conferences. You don't have to listen to Anthony Fauci. You don't have to watch what they're doing. You have to exist as a good person in your community, in your family, in your interpersonal relationships. That's what's important. And that's how you exist outside of all of this stuff. Watch it, use it as entertainment, enjoy it. And then go and feed some homeless people. Or I'm wearing this shirt. It's an Adirondack Trail volunteer. I volunteer to clean up the trails in the Adirondack Mountains. You can go and you can do things. You can donate blood. There's the biggest blood shortage ever. I keep getting emails from the American Red Cross about blood shortages. And I've attempted to go there a couple times, but due to schedules and other things, haven't been able to donate within the past few months, but I did a few months ago. My point is, you can do things on your own. You don't have to wait for someone else to do them, or to tell you to do them, or to wait for the crowd to do it. And that's the other thing, is a lot of this stuff, it's almost like watching the cool new show. It's peer pressure, which they taught us was bad in school. In those public schools, they said peer pressure is not good. Don't give in to peer pressure. And now to join certain clubs, I need to be vaccinated. I need to do all of these things. And it's part of being the club. So it does take a little bit of courage to be a little bit different. And I'm as guilty of this as anybody else. You don't want to be the outcast because it's hard to be the outcast. It's hard to be the outcast. But the answer is that there's a lot of outcasts out there because there is no normal. There's no normal. And anyone that tells you that there is, they haven't thought it all the way. I'm not going to say it's wrong. But normal is whatever is right for you. And I feel like this has been a lot of philosophy, not so much practical stuff today that I've been talking about. But essentially, the way that you exist in this brave new world of ours is to know what is important to you and to find like-minded people and not to bash people that have different opinions and not to try to force your views on that person. You can disagree. I do this on TikTok all the time. I follow a lot of lefties. I consider myself a libertarian. I would consider myself a right-leaning libertarian only because I'm definitely not left-leaning. I follow a lot of what you would call lefties on TikTok. And I want you, this is my mission. This is my mission for you, is if you don't like the division in America, which a whole lot of people say they don't, go and listen to some people with different ideas. And it's going to feel icky. It's going to feel icky to start with because you're going to say, I disagree with so much this person says, but just sit it out and listen to it because these people are people. This happened on TikTok. I followed one individual specifically, and I used to have to scroll past his content because I'm like, I can't take this. But there's also other aspects to this person. And there were some videos that I could handle. And so now I watch most of his videos when they come out because I know where he stands and I know that's not everything that he is. He's not just some cartoon that stands for this one thing and that's his only thing that makes him a person. No, he's got different ideas. He's got different opinions. You can kind of guess where he stands after a while. But my point is you start to see this person as a person. And that's the problem. We don't see people as people anymore. We see them as an adversary. It's not even adversarial in a sense that he actually has anything that's going to hurt me. It's that he's going to support someone that's going to do something that I don't like. So why don't we just be friends? It sounds so simple and so nonsensical. And you say that couldn't possibly work. But that's the point. You don't need somebody. You don't need this whole bureaucracy. You don't need this whole thing to have a good interpersonal relationship, to have good friends, to have good family experiences, to have good community, and to do good things. And once you start to build a bunch of people that think that way, it doesn't matter what George Soros says or Glenn Beck says or any of them say, only as much as you make it matter. What matters to you is what you decide matters to you in your community and locally. And that is the key. And you're starting to see this a little bit. You're starting to see some pushback with censorship. People are starting to think not the way that the box on the wall tells them to. People say, we got to crack down on this. People can't be thinking for themselves, right? We got to take Joe Rogan off Spotify. We got to do it. Got to get him out of there. It's misinformation. Which, coming up in the next segment, we're going to discuss a little bit about what misinformation is. And is it what you thought it was? Because it wasn't what I thought it was. That's the reason for a lot of the things that are going on Facebook or politically is misinformation. That's how they say, well, we got to stop it. It's misinformation. What is that? Why did they choose that word? Did they do it on purpose? That's coming up on the next segment. So that's just a little bit of a tease for you there. Back to existing outside of the system. This is why third parties are important. This is why listening is important. Listen, that's the key. People do a lot of talking. It's time to listen. And that is my mission. Listen to other ideas and respect the people making them because they're just people just like you. We are on WYSL, a free solution. Back after the break. Craig Miles in for Kevin Wilson. Thank you. are back on a free solution, WYSL and WACK Newark. I got it right. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Craig Miles. I am here talking about entertainment and misinformation. The misinformation is a big topic because Spotify is about to nuke Joe Rogan. No, that's a little bit, that's some of that hyperbole that you see on all those talking heads. Is it really out of the question? Maybe not. I don't think you're going to see Joe Rogan leave Spotify. But to the point of this discussion, the reason that this is a discussion is because of misinformation. And that word is an interesting choice, because if you go and you can Google this, don't do the one that Google suggests, because if you listen to Joe Rogan, you can go and listen to the guy on there that's been watching Google that shows how the suggestions actually sway your opinions and all of these things. You're being manipulated by Facebook, by YouTube, by Google. And that is a thing. And it's not just Joe Rogan saying that. In fact, Joe Rogan's not saying that. It's the expert that he's interviewing that's saying that. My point is, go to Webster's Dictionary. Maybe look it up in the book. They can't change those. But the definition of misinformation is something to the effect of misleading information. Not intentionally. That's disinformation. Disinformation is intentionally misleading information put out by someone like a government or a person or anybody. Misinformation, although it's misleading, it's not intentionally so. So it's like I go and I watch Joe Rogan and there's something that's said that's wrong on there, and I go and I repeat it, and I think it's true. I might no, not at all. I think it's true. So even though it's wrong, I think it's true and I'm repeating it. That's misinformation. Okay, so the definition of misinformation is misleading. So what is misleading? Misleading is to lead astray or to show something that is wrong morally, right? Because wrong, now you go to wrong. Okay, what is wrong? Wrong is anything that is not moral, that is not right. And that is where the use of misinformation becomes such an important choice of words. Because who decides what is wrong? Who is the moral authority? Well, it's Jen Psaki. It's Joe Biden. It's Dr. Fauci. It's anybody, right? Because I don't believe this, but some people say that morality is objective. They believe that. Now, that's the excuse, though, that they use to decide what is moral. So if morality is subjective. Subjective means it can change depending on the situation, right? If morality is subjective and misinformation is misleading information, which is wrong information in the moral sense, then that means I get to choose what is the wrong information. And so it goes back to relativity. Who is the one that says that it's right or wrong? And since that's the official line, anything that doesn't toe that line is misinformation. And that's why Spotify can do this. And that's why Google can do this. And that's why that word is chosen, misinformation. Because A, it doesn't have to be intentional, so you don't have to prove cause. And B, it has to do with your definition of morality. So the CDC or the FDA or whoever, I'm really heavy going after the government here, but this could be with anything. If you have a moral authority that you look to, and the information goes against that moral authority, by definition, it is misinformation. And now I throw someone off of Spotify. I did that last night. I never really questioned. This is why questioning is important. This is why questioning is so important. You got to go down the rabbit holes. You got to listen. You got to say, why did they choose this word? Why did they choose to show me this? I'm guilty again. I'm saying they, like there's some bunch of guys or gals or a mixture, them, they, all in a closet somewhere pulling the strings. So there is no evil they, but there is kind of. So it's so important to know where your information is coming from. And it's so important to listen to what people are actually saying. Not only because you might learn where they're coming from or why they think that way, but also because they might be intentionally misleading you with disinformation, not misinformation. So important to question and always question. This is something that I'm guilty of. I've said that a lot this episode. You need to always question why you're feeling uncomfortable. You need to be aware. And this comes into the whole personal responsibility thing. You need to be aware of how you're feeling and what you're doing. And when you hear something that goes up against your beliefs, you have to say, ooh, why do I feel this way? Why does this make me feel bad? Is it because it goes against what I think? Is it because it goes against what I know? If I do know it, how do I know it? Is it because somebody told me? Is it my family's belief? Is it even my belief? And then you start to say, wait a minute, maybe it's me that's wrong. My point is, I think, especially today, we are very reactionary to icky. That doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. So I'm not gonna justify it with anything. I'm not gonna listen to it. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna think about it because it feels bad. You need to do that. I'm sorry. I don't want to tell what you need to do. If you would like to change the situation that we find ourselves in right now, question yourself, question who is feeding you information, question why they're feeding it to you, question why you believe something that you believe. Because I don't know the exact it's something like teachers, preachers, and parents, maybe. That's where we get our beliefs from. So when you encounter a new belief or a different belief, instead of saying this is the wrong belief, you have to say, how is this different? Is it actually that different? Does it come from the same place? And to begin with, where does my idea about this even come from? And this is how you combat it. You talk with people, you share ideas, and you keep tabs on yourself and what you're doing and what you're feeling and what you're thinking. And once you realize, wait a minute, maybe this isn't what I thought it was, that is where the change happens. That is where the change happens. Once you start to listen to folks, once you see them as people and take them in good faith. There's some people out there that are not acting in good faith, but use that as the baseline and say, you know what? I'm going to listen to this guy. I'm probably not going to agree with him, and I might never. But the important thing is not to let some entertainer, whether it be a politician or a newscaster, come between you and somebody else. I would go so far as to say, if this was to happen 100 years ago, this coronavirus pandemic or this inflation, name the crisis. There's a new one. There's a new one, just like I talked about in the first segment. Every 15 minutes, there's a new crisis. So name the crisis. 100 years ago, A, would you have heard about it? you would have had to get a newspaper. If you didn't subscribe to the news, then I guess you wouldn't get that. You would have had to have heard it from a traveler, or something of that nature, right? There was a personal aspect to it. You read the local paper, or you knew the guy that traveled around, and that is what we got to get to. We got to get back to the personal stuff, because we're letting entertainers come between us, and we can't do that. So more about that in the last segment. It is Craig Miles on WYSL, WACK, a free solution, in for Kevin Wilson, back after the break. That is right. We are back with a free solution on WYSL, WACK, Newark, New York. That is the cool Newark in New York. Sorry, New Jersey. Is anyone listening in New Jersey? It's okay. I'm just one of those guys that you have to question. Question everybody. My name is Craig Miles. I'm filling in for Kevin Wilson. I will be filling in every Wednesday for Kevin Wilson here on A Free Solution. And before the break, I was talking about misinformation, disinformation, and how we combat it. And I started to go down the road of 100 years ago. Would we have even known half of these crises? And how did people even survive without keeping up on the latest controversy? They went out and they worked. Or if you were a mother, you stayed home and you worked with your children. And this isn't a discussion about gender roles or norms or anything like that. this is the way it was, right? 100 years ago. I'm talking about you spent your life living your life, however that was. And you read in the newspaper, whatever, and then you got on with your life. And that's kind of where I think we need to go back to. Because we are, whether we realize it or not, when we're asking Joe Biden, or we're asking Kathy Hochul, or we're asking Donald Trump, or we're asking anybody to fix a problem, we're putting them between us and the problem. And now I can't fix the problem. And maybe what they do doesn't fix the problem. And what do they do then? Well, they put a stay on the mask mandate, and you don't hear anything more about it. That's something I'm going to touch on, actually. Side quest here. The mask mandate last week, the court downstate decided that's unconstitutional, which last I knew, any law abhorrent is the word to the Constitution is not a law. No question. End of story. Yep, not a law. Never mind the fact that we get into mandates and executive orders and all that. Take it as a law. It's a law. We'll say it's a law. It was ruled unconstitutional. That's end of story until ruled otherwise. But not in Kathy Hochul's New York. In Kathy Hochul's New York, in less than 24 hours, I get the AG on the horn. I get her to make a statement. I get a hold of my buddies at the appellate court. I say, put a stay on this and reenact that mandate. This is important. They say the wheels of justice grind slow, but they grind fine. They ground real fast. Monday, Tuesday last week. Real fast. And then what happened? Kathy got her mandate. And now all of a sudden the court wants to take its time. I haven't heard anything about what they're ruling. I did hear that they were supposed to have a decision by Monday. And that didn't happen. And then I did hear that the mandate was extended until the middle of February. This unconstitutional mandate that was ruled unconstitutional, that is abhorrent to the Constitution. We've got it until the middle of February because I said so. And because I said so only works as long as you're listening. Now, again, this takes courage. And you can't just disobey laws, right? Because there does need to be some sort of order to society. We can debate about where that order comes from, whether it comes from the top, from some greater authority, or whether it's just a social contract among local people or whatever. But there does have to be some sort of a norm for a society to exist by definition, right? So my point is, if you were to have a town or a village or a city or a county that said, Kathy, you know what? I thank you for your opinion, but I'm not going to do it. And you were to have everybody in that county do that, what is Kathy going to do? Is she going to come and get the state police and put everyone in jail? No, that's not going to happen. And then you're going to see other counties say, wait a minute, do we have to follow this? Is this a thing? And it really is. It really is just that first domino that you got to knock down. And some people like the mandates. You can do the mask. You can put a kid on your mask. You can send them to school. You can wear a mask. We act like the only way to get somebody to do something is to write a law. And that is not the case. That is not the case at all. If you would like to exist in a society, you and the society decide what is right. Not Kathy Hochul, not Uncle Joe. We don't have to listen to these people. So I told you before to listen. You have to listen. We have to change our listening habits and our questioning habits. We have to organize at the low level and listen to each other and to the reality of what is happening to all of us. We don't have to listen to somebody tell us what is wrong with us or what is wrong with the other people. You can hear that and say, okay, this is where it comes back to the questioning yourself. Okay, does that align with what I think? Does that align with what other people think in my community? No. Okay, Kathy lives 60 miles away. What's she going to do? Uncle Joe lives, what, 800 miles away? What's he going to do? You need to start to interact locally. Locally. That is how you do it. You worry about what's going on with you and yours, and you don't worry so much about someone you've never met, someone you've never spoken to in person, and what they say is right for you, because they don't know what is right for you. You know what's right for you. And they'll even attack that. You don't know what's right for you. There's people taking ivermectin, the horse dewormer. And that's the dumbest thing ever. There are these people that don't like vaccines. That's horrible. Why? Why is that horrible? Why do I have to listen to that? The argument was it's to help others. Now we find out that you can get the virus and you can still spread it no matter what your status, no matter how many times you've been jabbed. So that argument went out the window about 6 months ago. But here we are, because we continue to listen to people tell us that we're not smart enough to make our own choices. I mentioned ivermectin. We have Blake in the comments. He said ivermectin information has been called misinformation by many mainstream news sites. It has been proven to work. Look at India, Japan. Locally, 2 people I know used it. Censorship of ivermectin and name calling is their method. Their misinformation about ivermectin comes from our mainstream news. And he's got a point there. This started with Joe Rogan, but it ends with us. Because they will tell you that you're crazy. They will tell you that you don't know what you're talking about, that you can't take ivermectin. And the answer to all of it is to say, you don't know what's best for me. I know, and I'm going to decide. And I know what's right for my community, and they know what's right. And I don't need your opinion. Thank you for it, but I don't need it. And that is a free solution. That is how we combat this. This is how we combat the entertainment that ends up affecting our lives every day. We hashtag walk away, and we do what is right for us. Thank you for tuning in. Craig Miles on A Free Solution in for Kevin Wilson. I will talk to you next Wednesday. Thank you very much.
months, my energy level is through the roof. I work out like most 19-year-olds. I am 47. Guys over 40, you need Nugenix Total T. And right now, you can get a complimentary bottle. Just text KING to 42424. It's the #1